Oh, welcome back. Got my aluminum radiator, so we're going to try to change out the old one today. And they have this really neat original cover, which basically holds the radiator in place. It's got these little recessed areas for the pads go in. And what I noticed was somebody's homemade pads out of like bubble wrap foam, essentially. So that's gonna go away. We ordered the factory pads, and looking down in there, there's definitely a little bit of radiator fluid still leaking out. So it's gonna be a good thing to get this out of here. The new finish shroud is gonna get cleaned up. It's kind of dirty and nasty, so we'll take some time to clean up the cover, paint it, just do little things. This is the new radiator. Is that a thing of beauty or what? So it's got the bungs for it. I was surprised the original radiator actually has the automatic transmission bungs on it also. So there's a good chance I may record that one and just, extra time and money allow. So we'll get these mounts modified, because as with any project, these are the factory ones that they just pop up inside that cover and essentially go over the top of the radiator and hold it in place. But when you get into some hot rodding, you'll notice it doesn't quite fit properly. So we're gonna have to do a little modification to kind of make that fit right. I bought the better mounts, so they're kind of a harder diameter rubber. Bought them from Energy Suspension, so they're not quite so soft. And the new lenses are in from CJ's Pony Parts. They did a nice job getting them out to me real quick, and so that's looking good. We took them out for a little cruise up to the lot last night, and seems to be very roadworthy. And we'll get this radiator in, and I think it'll be time to just cruise around for the summer and make some more little adjustments and keep ordering parts. I did get the new grill kit. Again, CJ's Pony Parts had a grill mounting kit, because all the little plastic bits from being 1978 that go where the screws are, all the little plastic bits are kind of busted out, and so they send all new pieces, all new screws. And I'm still debating whether I want to put the GMC grill in it right now or wait, but I'm just anxious to see what it looks like all installed, so we'll see what happens. But let's get this radiator out, and we'll take it one thing at a time, and hopefully this goes off without too much of a hitch. Yeah, buddy. So this is working out pretty good. I must have ordered the right radiator, done my measurements well, because you can see the clamp areas right there line up very, very nicely with the radiation cooling device. And had a little success with the mounts, because as with anything, you would think when you're doing a restoration like this, everything has to be right so it fits right. You got to get the right parts, and even then they don't always fit right. But if you can't find NOS parts, you have to refurbish them or find a really, really good worst case scenario reproduction part, and that can be a challenge in itself. And you would think that a little hot rodding on a vehicle would be easier, because you can just do what you want. Oh, I'm going to change the radiator, I'll put on different wheels and tires. But that sometimes leads into its own problems. And as I showed you earlier, this didn't quite fit the radiator very well. Going to the aluminum one, the mounts are quite a bit different. So these are supposed to mount in here, like so, and then it clamps down and holds the radiator in place. What I did was, we took our Chicago Electric whirligig tool, also known as a Dremel, that's the brand name, and we modified the mounts. That's kind of part of the reason why I bought the little bit stiffer mounts instead of the real rubbery ones. These are very flexible, so I'm not going to lose, I'm not going to have it so tight that the vibration will cause a problem. But they worked out quite nicely. modified it quite well. So this actually will hold onto the radiator very snugly, and you see it fits very nicely. And then when the plate comes down on it, it will snug it up. Let's see if we can do this with one hand here. I'm kind of a one-man show. Yeah, buddy. So that goes on there, and that bolts to the back to the upright in the front. Okay, we're doing pretty good. Couple hours worth of work. We got all of our mounts all cut down and set up to go on the radiator. This is the old support. Went through and sandblasted it with some media. I've got one of these little small sandblast guns, and you get a little pressure behind this thing and fill the tank up with your media. Give that a little squeeze and like new. Almost like new. But it does a nice job. I use a couple different media. I use some Black Beauty, which is kind of aggressive. Cleans it up, gets it down to where it kind of removes a lot of stuff fast. And then I went with some fine glass and just kind of made it a little nicer metal. Cleaned up the metal, got rid of some of the nastiness. It really leaves a nice, nice sheen on it. But so we'll get some primer, prime this up, paint it, and it'll look like new going in the truck. That'll be a good thing. One thing about them little sandblasters, though, if you don't have a recovery system, like a bowl or something, I probably should have thought about it. I have a tub, and I could have used it like a cabinet and recovered some of the media. I just, out on the side of the garage, open area, just the thing just vents out to the atmosphere, and so you go through a lot of media quickly, whereas with a cabinet it recycles that media. So, and as always, face shield and safety glasses, right? I use both for a reason, because you want to make sure you don't get that nasty shit in your eye. That's bad news. So, and we'll get around to getting the radiator out. While we prime that and paint it, we'll get around to getting the radiator out. We'll get this fan shroud out, get rid of this homemade whatever. Well, I guess you could say they did kind of a good job on it, and we'll just keep trucking. So one more step closer to being done. The saga continues. All right, so it worked out pretty good. Got as you can see, the new paint on the shroud, on the actual mount itself, so it's looking pretty good. A little bit of snake oil I got from a used car salesman, and we cleaned up the fan shroud, so that's looking pretty tight. Radiator's all in. Pretty happy with that. A couple little things I did notice. So when you go to put the shroud back in, you got to watch these bolts, because the ones that come with it are kind of long, and you can punch a hole in the radiator. So I went and got some shorter ones, and we're safe. And the mounts worked out good. You can see that radiator's in there nice and tight, and everything's looking pretty clean. We're going to put a little bit of nice new paint in there. Looks good inside. Cleaned up some of the framework where all the cruddy stuff had been. Got some new paint on that, and I think we're in good shape. I'm really happy with the mounts. I mean, that's nice and firm. So the only problem we did run into, and I still have to do a workaround for this, is that the radiator is up just a little bit taller, and it's a little bit wider. So that's why I went with the shorter bolts, because now it's a larger core. And the radiator being a bit taller, it's allowing for the mounts to be loose down low in the fan shroud. So I have to come up with some sort of a mount to keep that from flapping around, or else it's going to end up, it's going to hit the fan. The shit will hit the fan. So here we go. I think we're just about ready. We'll wrap up this little bit, throw some fluids back in it, get that lifeblood back in there, warm them up, and take them for a ride. Over and out. Test drive with the aluminum radiator. Here we go. We're just so short coupled and so bouncy and big tires, and so I call it the super chipmunk. A lot of work to get it to this point. It goes down the road pretty nicely. We're gonna run it up a little bit here, just see what kind of temperatures we get. It's nice. It was running cool, but like I say, the radiator was leaky, and now it's not. So should be good. I used to have to add fluid every couple of trips. Drafts. This is our 550 air conditioning, 5th gear, 50 miles an hour.